Welcome back to this video looking at a solo playthrough of Clinic. That's part 2. We have, up to now, we have finished the first 3 rounds. We are currently sitting at 5 popularity points with 10 units of time used, which is -3, so a total of +2 popularity. We have $13 in retained income for our investment. We've got a couple of doctors who are now de-skilled down to white doctors, 2 nurses, an orderly, 2 floors of our clinic, a number of patients sat in pre-assessment, and we are looking at trying to treat the 2 doctors, the 2 red doctors sat in university. That is a bargain, $6 for 2 red doctors, particularly as we have a red patient about to be admitted from psychiatry and a red patient in our pre-assessment for cardiology. So this is looking like being a huge turn. But before we get into our huge turn in clinic, we do need to just have a quick look at something I forgot to mention before, and that is in the solo game you have a victory condition to fulfill before you can score, and basically you just pick any one of these 10 victory conditions, and if you achieve that, you then get to score. So this isn't a typical beat your own score Euro type game. You do have to do these one of these conditions, and they're fairly challenging in their own right. I won't necessarily pick one now for argument's sake. Perhaps we'll do the first one: no more white patients left on the board or in the bag. But the aim here is really just to show how the game works rather than try and achieve that. So we'll just say the white patient, no more white patients as our score, as our victory condition. So let's move on. I will probably go through this a little bit quicker than I did previously. And so my first action then will be to admit those, or sorry, hire those 2 red doctors. So for 6 income, we have hired 2 very well trained doctors who are going to come in their cars, and for some reason, probably the influence of the movies, I do always think of these red doctors turning up in sports cars. Probably some kind of horrible stereotype, I know, but such is the influence of TV. So they can park their sports cars there. I will also hire that orderly to help keep costs down, so that's an additional $1. The orderly, of course, being on that part of the screen there, off camera. And so the orderly can sit there with his, I imagine, slightly less posh car. A couple more patients onto the queue. And we move on to action 2. And action 2, we will probably, because of the number of people coming in, I think we're going to build a couple of conveyors for $4. It's going to be 1 in each of those 2 rooms. And we're nearly out of money, which is a concern. But if this pays off, we will not have to worry about money for some time. Okay. Add in that patient onto the waiting list, and as I mentioned before, the patients, if the queue fills, there's no penalty. I just imagine they would simply go to another hospital. Right, okay, next action number 3, and that's going to have to be higher. Not higher, I've said the wrong one. We need to admit, and we are definitely going to admit that red patient from psychiatry. And why not? Let's admit a yellow patient as well. Okay, so we've got 3 key points still, 1 for each of the 2 entrances, plus 1 for the clinic itself. And let's start by admitting, for 1 key point, the red patient into psychiatry. I will remember the car this time. Now our cars are getting, our hospital is getting quite full of cars. Parking is rapidly becoming an issue. We may need to look at sorting that out next time. But for now, our next key point will be to move the psychiatry patients around and then admit that yellow patient. So that's all three key points now used, and the car for that patient can go there. Okay, that's the end of that action. Refill that. Refill there, and now we begin to move. Now we've got three patients to move, three staff members to move, plus at least two patients. So let's start with the orderly, who will move for one, and then follow the conveyor to there. So that's just one for the orderly. And the doctors will be one each to move to here, and then one. This one will stay, and this one will travel for free up to the treatment room. So that is just two time for those two doctors. Okay, and next we need to admit, and we're going to admit one red patient into cardiology, so one, and then three. One red patient into psychiatry, so that's one, so that's another two for those patients. We're on -5 popularity now, and only 5 popularity in total. And what we could do, we do have a good situation here. We've got a choice. We can either admit both of those patients, send one here and one here for a huge turn, or we can wait, have them level up to orange, and then treat them at orange, which will be an extra $16 if we wait. Interesting. Do we take the money now or do we wait? So if we take the money now, it'll be $64 for the two red patients plus another 24. And we could do an awful lot with that. But then we need to think about the patients on here. We have got a couple of orange patients there already that we could use, and our scoring condition, so to speak, is, or victory condition, so to speak, is no more white patients. Let's treat them all now. So let's bring those two both in. Again, 1 hour of time and another unit of time to come in and move up. So that's another 2 time. Okay, we are done for the movement section of the actions phase and business. So, red patients treated by red doctors, yellow patients treated by the combination of nurse and white doctor. So that is going to be 64 money for the red patients plus an additional 24, which is going to be quite a tidy amount of money. So 50 64 for the 2 red patients plus an additional 24. And those 4 patients and their cars now all disappear. No one's ever readmitted in clinic. Not in this clinic anyway. Okay, so costs. Now, these red doctors, as useful as they are for income, they do cost a lot of money. So we are now looking at $4 per red doctor, so that's $8 in costs, plus an additional 2, 4, 6. So that is $14 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $20 minus 3 for each of those, which is going to be $14 in costs, which is actually not as bad as you might think, is it? Okay. Excuse me. Which leaves us with a tidy sum of money. Now, each of our popularity points is $3, so we could buy 20 popularity points with some left over. We could, of course, buy more than that, but we don't want to spend too much because we do need to still consider what we're going to do with staffing and so on, should we need to hire anybody else, which we may do. Not sure at the moment, so let's stick with that plan. $14. No, not $14. Let's say $11 into the retained income area, and then a total of $63, which will be 21 points, 21 popularity points. So we are now cooking on gas, as they say. 26 popularity points. That's not bad. That's pretty good for one turn. If in the event that we ever go all the way off the end of the popularity track, we can switch up. Not really had much use for this myself, but then this isn't intended to be a strategy guide. Okay, so admin phase. Move down our markers and we clear out our waiting list. We don't have any doctors in university, so now we have a little bit of a luck of the draw to see what we get, which may require some juggling of nursing staff if we don't get the right ones. Okay, 2 yellow doctors. That's not bad at all, given the yellow patients we have on the waiting list. Our doctors de-skill, so our expensive red doctors, they become orange doctors. And then we don't worry about these two pieces because we don't have that module. Our patients, there's no patients on our board, so they don't degrade. Nobody dies, and we're on to round number 5. Okay, what's the situation now? We have no patients. There are no patients in our clinic. So we need to get some more patients. We need to consider which patients and how we are going to get them into the clinic. And I think for the purposes of demonstration, it may be worth building. I don't necessarily feel I need to build. However, just to show you what some of these other components are, let's do some building. Again, we can build 2 things. And what I will build for this, the purposes today, is I will build parking and I will build a garden. Okay, so parking and a garden. And what these allow you to do, and that's going to cost me a total of 4. And what these allow you to do is increase your parking capacity. And it's double-sided, so a later upgrade could be to increase your parking. For now, though, we will just place it there. And the gardens are a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, they will allow you to park around the outside, and they will also, if they're adjacent to a treatment room that has treated patients, they will actually generate income, but they cost to maintain. So they're a mixed blessing gardens, but that is the garden we have. Right, end of that action. Let's refill the waiting list. Okay, action number 2. Action number 2, let us build. Do I want to build again? I think I should probably build again, because this time I think I'm going to need some key points. So let's get a couple of entrances just to make sure we have enough leeway in what we can manipulate in terms of our queue. So again, that's going to be another $4. And we'll buy 2 entrances. And we'll place one of them. They can go anywhere really. We will anywhere around the outside, of course. We will place one here. Actually, I don't know if we can place them next to gardens. doesn't sound very thematic to me, so I will change my mind for that one, and I'll just get some extra parking. Yeah, I'll get some extra parking just so we don't have any issues with parking. Okay, we could have built a helipad which function very similar to the entrances. However, they're best placed at a higher part of the clinic, so you can go directly into the upper levels of the clinic. We don't really need that because we have the conveyor system, and placing it on the floor here will limit where we can park and other buildings should we choose to. Yeah, let's stick with the parking. Okay, third action after we've refilled our queue is to admit. And we have no patients, so let's use our queue points to admit as many patients as we can. We've got 2 orange doctors, so we need to try to admit those before the doctors degrade. Okay, so first queue point, swap that around, and then second queue point to admit. We do have a total of 4 now, so that's 2 queue points. Don't know that we're going to get those 2 orange patients in. However, when our orange doctors degrade, they will become yellow, which will still be able to treat those orange patients because of the nursing staff. So let's just admit 2 patients for the remainder of our queue points into psychiatry. Movement room, staff don't need to move this time, which is really handy. However, we do need to move the patients, which will be 1, and then the free transportation up to the cardiology area, and then 2, both those patients can be treated because the orange doctor has a nurse to help with the yellow patient, or to act under his supervision, shall we say, and the his or her supervision, and the white doctor can treat the white patient. That's a total of 3 time. Okay, end of the second phase. Business phase then, we've treated 1. Oh, did I bring any cars? I'm terrible for forgetting cars. We should have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we don't have enough cars. Let's just place those on our newly acquired parking. Okay, anyone who's ever worked in a hospital will probably be very familiar with this situation. Right, our patients then, we can treat a yellow patient, a white patient and an orange patient for a grand total of 40 income, which is excellent. There is almost an engine building element to this game, in addition to its many other facets. So that's 30, 40, okay. Costs, we have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus, my mistake, we do need an extra 2 income for the garden because there was a patient treated in that treatment room. We now need to deduct our costs. It's 6, 7 for the facilities, and then 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minus 3. That's going to be 9 for our costs. And now by popularity we have no retained income, well 5 retained income, which is not so good. So I think what we should do, we've got 26 income remaining. I think we should probably consider maybe only spending 7. So if we have 5 retained income, the other 21 on points. So we're now going to move up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 33 points and 10 retained income. Just need to make sure I've got the right number of cars again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have to take the cars off. Admin phase. Move into the final round now. Just need to take away the 2 nurses from the hiring track because we didn't hire those this turn or last turn. Our doctors in the universities upgrade. Our doctors out of university de-skill. Don't do the next 2 parts, and no patients on our board again. No patients on our board, so we don't need to worry about that. Then we just need to. I can't remember if I removed those. There are more than I would expect in the bag, so let's take them off just to be sure. Okay, right, that is the end of turn 5, moving into turn 6. What happens at the end, assuming we achieve our victory condition in the solo game, is we need to add up our retained, our purchased popularity, which is this bit here, add to it the popularity gained for how well staffed our clinic is, add to it popularity for treatment rooms above ground level, and then take away any popularity that has been lost through the use of time. So now it's a case of ensuring we have enough income to buy more popularity while keeping the time to a minimum. Okay, let's just hire those two orange doctors and then admit as many patients as we can. So that's going to be $6. Oh, I can only hire 1 at a time. That's going to be, it was 10, wasn't it? So 4. Can only hire 1 doctor at a time. And then let's use our key points to admit. So it's still got 4 key points. Yeah, 4 key points. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Refill that bag. Refill from the bag, I apologise. Orange and white. Moving into round 3. Once you get the hang of what you do in clinic, once you get the different concepts and so on, it actually flows really nicely, really quick. It's just that initial learning curve is quite steep, and we will admit again for our third action. And we still have 4 key points. Before I can do that, I need to get 4 more cars. So and I will admit 1, 2, 3, and that was 1 in psychiatry, and now we have those there, an additional 3 cars. Now the reason I've done that, because our patients will become more unwell. At the end, when we do the final round of scoring, you do play right through to the end, including making your patients more unwell and descaling the doctors and so on. So the scoring condition, if you remember, was no white patients. So we need, even if we don't treat these, and we're not going to be able to treat these white patients, I don't think, at least not all of them, we will still qualify because they will be yellow by the end of the actual round. Anyway, we have done that. We have no more patients left in the bag to refill, so it's time to move people around. Our orange doctor needs to come into psychiatry. However, in order to do that, we need to move out one of the other doctors, and I will move out the white doctor. So the orange doctor can come in, that's a cost of 1. He will move to there for free, no limit on occupancy here. Couldn't go there, it's only the orderlies that can stay in that room. So we have 1 time. We will then use the 2 doctors, 2 patients, so that's 3, and then 2, the yellow doctor and the nurse can treat an orange patient, so that is 2 time. Up into cardiology, we will admit 1 of each, so that's 1 each, and then 3 to move up. So that's an additional 2 time. We're now on 25 time. And that's the end of our final actions phase. We just need to do business, so that's 4 patients treated, 40 for those 2 patients, and another 20 for those 2 patients. So that is 60 income. And then we need to take away their 4 cars. And we need to do the costs, and costs are the same. We play the round through right to the end, so that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for that room. 1 more, 2 more income there, because we treated the patients again. So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 20. Wow, 20 in costs minus the 6 for those 3 because of the efficiency benefit. Our final income on our final round is 36. It's not bad at all. We still need to carry on and do the rest of our phase. And we've got 36, so I'm going to buy 10, 11, 12 popularity points, which pushes our popularity before any adjustments up to on 33, so on to 45, which is about right for me, although I'm sure some people will do make full use of that 100 marker. I personally haven't yet done it. Okay, moving into the admin phase, don't need to worry about patients or round markers. No need to worry about our doctors upgrading. We don't count any staff on the board here in terms of the adjustments to the popularity, just the ones on our player board. We then degrade our doctors, so the 2 yellow doctors become white doctors. And our orange doctor becomes a yellow doctor. our patients become sick, so we have an orange patient and 2 yellow patients. And now we move into the final scoring. Okay, so our final scoring at the moment is 45 for the popularity that we have bought throughout the game. This money is now useless, don't do anything with that, but we need to make adjustments for our staff. And as with the costs, each of our staff members, except orderlies, generate points. So we have 1 for each nurse, so that's 2. We have 2 for each white doctor, so that's 8. So we're now up to 55. 55. It's unlikely to stay at 55, but it's there for the time being. And we have 1 yellow doctor, which is another 3. And then we need to look at our buildings. We have only got 1 building, although we have 2 floors, it's still only 1 building, so we don't get any points for that, which is what the symbol here is. And then we need to look at the treatment rooms, and we have a functioning treatment room at level 2, so we get an additional 2 victory points. Not victory points, popularity points. And finally, the final adjustment is to deduct points based on time and based on patients that are still untreated on our player board. So we have 8 points to deduct, so we're down to 52. That is for the time. And then we have on our player board 3 unwell patients, 2 yellow, 1 orange. That is going to be 8 plus 6, which is 14. A further 14 points to deduct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. So our final score in clinic, and we have finished our scoring goal. No more white patients, so our final score in clinic is a grand total of 38, which makes us an intern, which I'm sure will be improved with time and practice. Anyway, that is clinic. I hope you have found this an informative video. Hopefully answered a few questions and give you an idea of how it plays and so on. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and check out Clinic regardless of whether you've enjoyed the video or not. It's a wonderful game from a great designer, Alban Viard, who also designed Town Centre. That's it for now. I've been Neil from Diagonal Move, and I'll see you next time.